Coming up on Ag Week TV, we'll have more from our international trade panel at the Northern Corn and Soybean Expo.
The infamous big game hunting grain elevator manager pled guilty to federal mail fraud and income tax evasion charges in Minneapolis.
And we'll look at rural connectivity levels in the region and the impact that's having on technology use on the farm. Welcome to Ag Week TV. I'm Michelle Rook. The former manager of the Ashby, Minnesota Farmers Co-op grain elevator has pleaded guilty to federal felony charges. Jerry Hennessy appeared in federal court in Minneapolis on mail fraud and income tax evasion charges. He faces 6 to 8 years in prison, $250,000 in fines, and must repay $6.5 million to his victims and the IRS. Hennessy will be sentenced in June. He admits stealing at least $5 million from the co-op over 15 years, using much of it for international big game hunting, taxidermy, and home improvements. The case initially drew a lot of attention because Hennessy disappeared in September as the elevator's losses were coming to light. He turned himself in on December 4th. Last week, a cattle fraud or Ponzi scheme also surfaced in South Dakota. A Douglas County court addressed a multi-million-dollar foreclosure involving upwards of 31,000 head of cattle. The case was brought by First Dakota National Bank against Robert and Becky Blum of Corsica. The complaint says the Blums had overdrawn their account by more than $1 million and owed a principal of nearly $6.8 million. A court affidavit stated Blum had prepared false documents for customers for 3 to 4 years for thousands of head of cattle he sold but did not physically have. 18 parties are part of the case, and that number is growing. Agriculture is growing increasingly dependent on technology for everything from crop production to record keeping. But in many places, implementing technology takes something farmers can't control, the availability of fixed or mobile broadband connections. That was a big topic at a recent Precision Ag Summit. Rose Dunn has more.
The number of households that are connected in North Dakota to gigabit or greater access is number 2 in the country.
That's because Dakota Carrier Network, made up of independent broadband companies, has spent more than $1 billion over the last 10 years to get rural areas online at the same price as urban areas.
Whether that's precision ag or a business in the home or an Internet of Things device, to make sure that that's connected 100% of the time with the right type of connection.
Domry says that could be a few years or just a few months down the road.
Exciting to have that kind of service available everywhere, so everybody has access to those kind of broadband speeds at that kind of price.
Justin Forty, the Senior Director of Government Relations at Midco, says his company serves largely rural areas, many of them hard to reach with Internet service. There are still places that don't have service, and Forty sees fixed wireless as part of the solution. It involves beaming coverage through the air rather than by cable.
The speed, reliability, and throughput of fixed wireless has just improved tremendously. And it isn't just about having fiber necessarily at every farm, because people want that connectivity at every acre.
Forty says fixed wireless is already being used in many areas, and Midco is quickly expanding it in rural areas to make sure everyone has the same access. In Jamestown, this is Rose Dunn for Ag Week.
We'll have more on this cover story in the next Ag Week magazine and agweek.com. Ahead on Ag Week TV, we'll ask the experts about the future of international trade and the status of trade deals.
Luckin Trucks and Parts sells quality used parts for all makes and models. With over 50 acres of trucks and parts and new inventory arriving daily. Family owned and operated since 1966, Luckin's specializes in the sale of quality used medium to heavy duty truck parts as well as pre-owned trucks, trailers, and construction equipment. If it's on a truck, we got it. Call us today and let us get you your part.
Yeehaw! It's time for the 82nd Annual North Dakota Winter Show. Make your way to Valley City March 5th through 10th for all the excitement. Party in the Dirt on March 8th with Confederate Railroad, Chancey Williams and the Younger Brothers, and Redline. PRCA Rodeo on March 9th and 10th is filled with thrilling rodeo action and mutton busting. You don't want to miss out on exciting events like tractor pulls, horse pulls, ranch rodeo, and special stage acts. Complete schedule and tickets online at NorthDakotaWinterShow.com or find us on Facebook.
With the success of the Case IH Steiger Quad Track and Magnum Road Track tractors, it's no secret why Case IH is the leader of the track. So it wasn't surprising when the competition started imitating us. But only Case IH offers a 5-axle design to give you a smoother ride, more power to the ground, with less berming and compaction. Still, we're flattered. In fact, if we weren't already red, we'd be blushing.
Make sure your farm equipment is season ready with an uptime inspection from your Titan Machinery service professionals. Titan Machinery's team of Case IH factory-trained service technicians has the knowledge and experience to find, correct, and prevent mechanical issues that could shut you down during the season. Your planting and harvest windows are short. For genuine Case IH parts and service, schedule an off-season uptime inspection at Titan Machinery today. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has a storage solution for you with a wide variety of bin options and accessories, along with site planning and superior customer service. Plus, from top to bottom, we offer the industry's best bins and warranties to protect your products and your grain storage investment. Get superior quality, protection, and reliability with generations of experience and dependability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
The U.S. and China trade talks continued this week with reports the two parties were discussing several memorandums of understanding. They'd cover the U.S. demands and include additional purchases of $30 billion a year of ag and energy products, including corn, soybeans, and wheat. This is on top of pre-trade war levels. China would also drop its anti-dumping duties on U.S. DDGs. At the USDA AG Outlook Forum this week, Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue said Congress would ratify the USMCA by this summer. I asked our trade panel at the Northern Corn and Soybean Expo their outlook on approval, since the House was now controlled by the Democrats.
I think that there's a lot, broader economic significance to the economic partnership, really, that we've built with Mexico and Canada over the time that NAFTA's been in place. It would be very difficult to unwind. There would be, I would imagine, a lot of farms that go out of business, quite frankly, if that were to happen. We can't afford to lose this market, so we need Congress to ratify the USMCA. But the beauty of what was achieved in this area and in the biotech area of the USMCA, the beauty of what was achieved is that that sets a standard for us to use in future free trade agreements where some of those issues can cause major trade disruptions. So we can point to those as modernization achievements.
Let's talk a little bit about the global recession and the emerging markets that we are seeing as a result now of the trade war. Where are we looking next? And are there certain countries that we're worried about with that?
I think the economy is not, while it's not as strong as we'd like it to see on a global basis, I think there's a lot of good things happening. And so we are focusing for a long-term effort on some of these places where we do see this economic activity. We see large populations, we see low protein consumption today, and we think a desire to increase that. And that's really the long-term work that our organization is doing, trying to develop these long-term markets for U.S. soy and even U.S. ag products, I think more broadly.
What about corn, ethanol, and DDGs? Emerging markets there, Leslie?
I mean, certainly Asia's really important as a region. We see a lot of potential in Vietnam and the Philippines. And then, there are some barriers to overcome, but certainly Indonesia and India are very attractive future markets.
Talking about how to improve exports to India and per capita consumption-wise, what are the opportunities there?
India is on everybody's target with the population, the demographics of the population, income growth, everything. The problem is there's so many government interventions that are so random over time that nobody knows how to get in.
Let's also talk about Brazil, because obviously they have become a bigger exporter of soybeans now than the U.S. this last year, and especially they've taken the China market. So does that continue to happen here, especially as we start going into our planting season and their harvest is coming in? I know they've had a few production problems in Brazil.
They will continue, I think, to be very aggressive to try and expand their production areas. I understand their new administration is going to look more favorably upon that. I think their whole Minister of Agriculture, Minister of the Environment, I think will be encouraging farmers to be trying to put more land in production. So they're going to be a competitor.
Also at the Expo, we talked about the spring planting outlook with the backdrop of an expected acreage shift to less soybeans and wheat and more corn. Joining us is DT meteorologist Bryce Anderson. And Bryce, we want to talk about the spring planting outlook. We came out of the fall wet. Is it going to be a wet spring?
Sure looks that way, Michelle, and the big feature is especially going to be over the central and eastern corn belt. We know that there are some areas of the belt where soil moisture is at either surplus or record levels, and it's not going to take very much to cause the ground to stay wet and bring on some field work delays with the likelihood that it's going to be on the cool side, especially over the first half of the season.
Meanwhile, what does that mean for the western corn belt? Will we get in on time?
I think we're going to be still a little bit late just because of the temperature trend. I do think that the overall precip pattern is going to be a little bit less heavy here in the western belt, and so that should help things out in terms of our field work schedule for this year.
We're still watching South American weather as well. We started off too dry in Brazil, too wet in Argentina, but a little more favorable now.
The Brazil pattern has become a lot wetter and a lot more favorable, especially for the second corn crop, the safrinha corn crop in Brazil. It's being planted now in mid to late February. They are going to see ample soil moisture, it looks like, and very favorable for getting that crop going. And Argentina, meanwhile, is turning a little bit drier, but they have very large soil moisture supplies to help them through any dry spell, and the temperatures have not been at all excessive in Argentina.
We have seen the Brazilian production estimates down to as low as, say, 112 million metric tons, but it looks like now we should be stabilizing, right?
I think things have pretty well been dialed back to where they're going to not change a whole lot in Brazil from now on.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, DT and meteorologist Bryce Anderson. At this week's USDA AG Outlook forum, the agency pegged wheat acreage at 47 million acres, down 800,000 from last year. Soybean acreage at 85 million acres, down 4 million, and corn up 3 million at 92 million acres. Still ahead on AgweekTV, we'll look at one of the megatrends in ag, and later see what's being done to increase ethanol use in the U.S. and globally.
DTE is your headquarters for flatbeds and service bodies for your truck. Whether you need to haul bales, heavy commercial equipment, or take every tool with you, DTE has the truck equipment you need. We have over 200 units on hand, or will custom build a flatbed or service body on your truck.
Like this Dewey's bale bed with dual lift cylinder arms. Lift, load, and handle your bales with ease.
When you need help at the farm, your business, or in the oil patch, count on DTE. DTE, let us build a truck for you.
Get ready for the biological revolution. Agzyme by Ag Concepts is the leading biological soil enhancement product on the market today. Agzyme improves soil health and fertilizer efficiency for healthier crops and better yields.
Definitely is making a difference. I really feel that it gives me a bump in the soybeans and corn. I would say 55 up to 70 bushel soybeans. We even had as high as 75. Probably the best bang for your buck.
Join the biological revolution with Agzyme by Ag Concepts.
How can one tillage tool handle most field conditions, residue types, and tillage practices? It takes a renegade, the Summers VRT Renegade. Switch from vertical to aggressive tillage and anywhere in between. Adjust blade angles, tillage depth, and more on the go, all from an iPad. Get the tillage results you want, like only the Summers VRT Renegade can. For more information or a demo, contact your Summers dealer.
Upgrade your trailer to electric with the Rolltech electric system from AgriCover. Strong, flexible pivot arms and motor mount rotate and telescope, allowing the roll tube to rise and flex over heaped loads. The positive automatic lock is impossible to back off to control the flow of grain. This integrated system uses one wireless remote to operate up to 10 tarps and hoppers, keeping your driver out of the dust, rain, and harm's way. See the Rolltech system in action at an AgriCover dealer near you.
This is Dennis Belisky reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On-site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
A megatrend is an important shift in how something is done. Mikkel Pates has been researching megatrends in ag. He found the top 4 are weather, world politics, consumer influence, and the rapid advance of technology. Ag tech really began to take off with GPS and farming in the mid-90s. That led to auto steer, yield mapping, and variable rate spraying. Drones have been an important tool, as well as digital data collection and analysis. But NDSU's John Nowatzki says there are still many high-tech opportunities coming, and farmers need to be willing to adapt to them.
Since the margin is thin and farmers are getting larger, they really need all the information that they can get. But it all fits into the real focus of the trend today, and that's digital data and using digital data to help make better decisions.
Read more about this and other megatrends in ag in the upcoming edition of Ag Week. A European ag university is developing a gluten-safe wheat. A researcher in the Netherlands is using gene editing to produce a so-called gluten-safe wheat that can be eaten by people with celiac disease. Though all gluten genes can be removed from wheat, doing so hurts baking quality. And putting special additives in gluten-free products makes them more expensive. So the research focuses on modifying specific genes to make wheat with safe gluten that does not cause an allergic reaction. Is it safe to assume spring is near? Here's John with our AgriWeather Outlook.
Weather portion of Ag Week now. What started out back in mid-January as a temporary cold snap from the polar vortex disruption has frankly turned into a long and hard winter. And right now there really isn't any grand sign of any dramatic change. It will fade eventually. But right now we're still looking at more Arctic air coming down and at least more snow chances, including what's been falling this weekend around the northern plains. Of course, it is the cross-polar flow that has delivered the frigid air into our region. And this week it is still very cold. Northern branch of the jet, southern branch, both allowing that cold weather to drop into the United States. It will alter just a little bit, retreat back toward Hudson Bay midweek, but there are signs that toward the end of the weekend, the frigid, and by that I mean highs near or below zero, dropping back down into the northern plains, but it's really only the Great Lakes area and the northern plains where the really cold air is in the United States. Check this out. Most of Western Europe has been very mild. It's rather cold around Siberia, around Moscow, around the eastern part of Europe. There is frigid weather up in Siberia, but far eastern Siberia has been mild, and it's been very mild way up into Alaska. In fact, that's where the push toward the polar vortex has been, which has allowed the frigid weather to drop south. Heading on into the first week of March, it won't be quite so cold. This is the 3rd through the 9th, but it's still going to be well below average in the northern plains. And as far as any precipitation goes, this week, at least one snowstorm through the upper Midwest, northern plains, and Great Lakes. Heavy rains confined to the south and the west coast. Next week, that would be March 3rd through 9th, we're expecting the main area of snow to come out of the northern Rockies, maybe delivering another storm into parts of the northern plains, and the deep south. Looks like those areas will remain wet for the foreseeable future.
Martinson Ag Risk Management offers a variety of crop marketing and crop insurance packages to our customers. With over 40 years of experience, our dedicated staff works hard to ensure you get the best advice on crop insurance, marketing, and risk management. Contact Randy or any of the staff at Martinson Ag Risk Management today at 701-205-4200 or visit us online at martinsonag.com.
When planting season comes around, time is precious and you don't have a moment to waste. This spring, keep your planters rolling with a user-friendly seed tender from North Star Ag. We have seed tenders for every sized operation from Meridian, Unverferth, and J&M. North Star Ag also sells a variety of Valmar spreaders, the leader in air boom delivery, and is a full-service Meridian hopper bin dealer. Visit NorthstarAg.com to see our complete new and used equipment inventory or give us a call.
Farmers take pride in growing safe, affordable, nutritious food. And since over 90% of U.S. farms are family or individually owned, keeping land and animals healthy makes sense for all of us. If you have questions about the food you eat, talk to the people who grow it. North Dakota farmers and ranchers are your best source for reliable facts on food and farming. Visit findourcommonground.com and become part of the food conversation today. Brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Checkoff.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
When the water's high and your yields are low, 'cause your fields have no place for water to flow, just one call takes care of it all. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated. Call on Field Drainage. Experts in
This segment of AgweekTV brought to you by the North Dakota Corn Utilization Council and the North Dakota Ethanol Council.
Ethanol growth is a key factor in keeping corn farmers profitable. But as Mikkel Pates found, ethanol promoters say there is plenty of room for growth, both in the U.S. and overseas.
And the growth of ethanol is one of the key factors in keeping corn production profitable for U.S. growers.
Paul Thomas loves to promote ethanol. He's a vice president of the North Dakota Corn Growers Association. He represents the state on the National Corn Growers Association Ethanol Action Team, and he grows corn on his farm near Velva. Thomas says half the corn grown in North Dakota goes to an ethanol plant. He says not only is ethanol good for farmers, it saves drivers money at the pump. The higher octane can help your engine run better, and it's cleaner for the environment.
But at the end of the day, we're doing all of this for increasing the corn grind, decreasing environmental harmful effects from gasoline, and we're ultimately producing a product that's going to cost the consumers less to fuel their vehicles and also get equal or even better gas mileage.
I think our acres are going to be steady.
The interim director of the North Dakota Corn Utilization Council says now the need is to expand markets in the U.S. and internationally.
We need the demographics on the East and the West Coast to understand the benefits of using ethanol and how good it is for the environment. Long term, I think we have to continue to look to exports. That's where the population is. That's where a lot of the drive for a cleaner environment to reduce some of that pollution in some of those larger cities like Mexico City.
Thomas says corn checkoff dollars continue to fund research and development to improve corn and ethanol technology, policy issues like renewable fuel standards, and consumer awareness. And as a corn grower, Thomas says that makes him feel good.
I'm not just working for hopefully making me more money and selling my corn for a higher price. I know that our work and promotion of ethanol is providing a product there for the consumer.
In Fargo, this is Mikkel Pates for Ag Week.
Mikkel has more on this in the next Ag Week magazine and agweek.com. South Dakota's governor supports E30 and is working on a plan to convert the state fleet to a 30% ethanol blend. Governor Kristi Noem shared details at the recent South Dakota Corn Annual Meeting. She says this is an opportunity for the state to be a national leader by utilizing a renewable energy source that's produced at home.
It's safe to use year-round, and we'll prove it right here in South Dakota. So my intention is to move the state fleet to E30 and then challenge other states and other governors to do the same.
South Dakota corn growers support the governor's proposal and her request to the EPA for a waiver to run E30 in state vehicles. The number of rural vets is dropping. Still ahead, we'll see what's being done to attract more.
With the all-new GreenFit system from Ricard, plug and play is finally a reality when using John Deere AutoTrack guidance with existing new products like the Challenger 1000 series or all-new C-Series row gators from Butler Machinery. GreenFit is an authorized navigation interface that utilizes existing John Deere AutoTrack guidance system to steer most Challenger tractors and sprayers. GreenFit eliminates the worry of learning and converting to a new steering system when buying an industry-leading Challenger from Butler Machinery. Learn more about GreenFit at butlermachinery.com.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? AgWeek magazine. Reaching over 70,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. AgWeek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted. AgWeek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
AgWeek is excited to bring you the AgWeek app with useful features and the latest news and information right at your fingertips. Get your AgWeek news, weather, and the latest episodes of AgweekTV. Plus, see real-time information on the futures market and view local cash bids for your crops. Stay updated and take AgWeek with you wherever you are. Download the AgWeek app today.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
The number of large animal veterinarians is down across the nation at a time of rising demand for their services. So keeping those vets in business and transitioning to the next generation is important. That was the focus of the James Bailey Herd Health Conference in Brookings. Speakers focused on how vets can effectively practice medicine and also manage a profitable business, plus value their practice to bring in the next crop of vets.
And that is a big issue, especially in some of the rural communities and the Midwest, where we find some of our most experienced and beloved veterinarians reaching retirement age and struggling to find people to take over their practices.
Vets also learned how to attract and retain professionals in the business, especially in western South Dakota.
People who want to come to an area like this and work at this profession, there aren't very many of them. It was just a challenge in numbers.
Veterinarians attending also discussed prominent concerns in the industry, such as response to emerging foreign animal diseases. South Dakota is attempting to address the shortage of large animal vets in rural areas through their 2+2 program. Participating students spend 2 years of vet school at South Dakota State University and the last 2 years at the University of Minnesota College of Vet Medicine.
We want to be able to train, identify students that can go through vet school that would have that interest, and then be able to train them and hopefully get them to go back into practices in these areas.
The program also reduces the cost of veterinary education by about $100,000 per student. The State Senate has passed a bill to support the program, which will be considered by the House. Thanks for watching this week's edition of AgweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or download the AgWeek app, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. We'll see you next week.